I got to say, props to Amazon, Jeff Bezos, whoever, NFL, whoever picked this game. Nice job. Because how can you not love this one tonight and be front and center when the Washington Commanders, fresh off their trip to the NFC Championship game a year ago with the rookie sensation Jaden Daniels, roll into Green Bay, Lambeau Field to face Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. Thursday night showdown to kick off week 2. Heck of a ball game. Heck of a ball game tonight, and looking forward to every second of it. Now, I will say, a couple things to note on this game, Noah Kreitz.
Yes, sir.
Micah Parsons dominated the Commanders last year. 4.5 sacks in 2 games last season. He sacked Jaden Daniels 4.5 times. And now he will face that rebuilt Washington offensive line that has Laramie Tunsil, among others. And we'll see if Micah Parsons, wearing number 1, can have an impact this evening.
He's got to get a jersey that fits him, though. And the number 1's cool, but it wasn't fitting him right. You know how, like, in middle school or high school, the size jerseys.
You don't want them to hold it, right? You want it to be as tight as possible. It's like it
just looks strange. Whatever. Continue.
But the Green Bay Packers have been excellent at home in primetime. The green and gold NFL best 23-9 against the spread in primetime games, and outstanding 16-3 against the spread in the first 3 games of a season under Matt LaFleur. So there's some numbers to look at there.
Yeah, and the numbers, I believe, 3.
3.5 I have
now.
This morning. Okay. That's that dreaded hook. I wouldn't be messing around with that.
Not touching that number.
And, the thing about the Washington Commanders, they went and because they have a quarterback who's tremendous on a rookie contract, they invested and added pieces. They rebuilt their defensive line, and if you saw them play the Giants, they dominated the Giants on their defensive front. Tyrone Tracy and the Giants running game could do nothing. And obviously that led to Russell Wilson doing nothing. They blanketed Malik Neighbors, and the Giants didn't settle for 2 long field goals in that game. Meanwhile, they also invested in Laramie Tunsil and traded a lot to Houston to get him. They also added they took a first-round pick, the kid Connolly out of Oregon, really talented player, another tackle, so they've upgraded the offensive line. They also added Deebo Samuel, who was the go-to guy. I told you during the offseason I thought he was going to be, because Adam Peters is the general manager of the Commanders, and he came from San Francisco, and he knows the value of a healthy Deebo Samuels and what it means. And they just use him as the Swiss Army knife. He's running end arounds. They throw it to him on little routes down the field. They hand him the ball, and that should open things up. To put that on tape in Week 1 against the Giants, that's going to open things up for Terry McLaurin down the field because Deebo became the go-to. They also have Zach Ertz, a tight end, who's still a good player, and Austin Eckler is still a running back. He's still a good player. They've got a lot of weapons, but this Packers defense is something else. Your Lions found that out last week.
Yeah, it is something else. It's a little bit different than what the back half of the Giants is, right? Obviously, we know the front seven's really talented for the Giants, but I'm ecstatic to see how Jaden Daniels performs in this game against that defense in that environment. The Packers fans are going to be riled up, and also the fact that is Michael Parsons is going to get more than 29 snaps. I can guarantee you that. Probably, I would assume closer than the 40s.
We have 2.5 sacks or 4.5 sacks against Jaden Daniels. He likes to chase that dude.
He does.
And not many people can catch him.
And the rust didn't seem like it was fully there watching that Detroit game. So, I'm excited to see it. I think, like you said, this is two teams that, not just in the playoffs last year, they're wildcard teams. One of them made it to the NFC Championship. The other's probably one of the odds favorite to be in the NFC Championship. And I think this could be a game we for sure see in the playoffs.
These are 2 teams that could be in the Super Bowl. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
And because the Packers have been building, and now the Micah Parsons move, and on the morning of the trade, I said, what this really does is it makes everybody on their defense better when he's on the field. But they now have a potential all-pro player at every level of their defense, right? Because Micah Parsons is already a 4-time Pro Bowler and an all-pro. But Edgerrin Cooper, maybe you got to see this past weekend, but Edgerrin Cooper, Texas A&M fans know this kid really well. He's a kid out of Louisiana who came in and was a star in the SEC at A&M. He was the 2nd-round pick of the Packers last year. He's only 23 years old, and he is a star in the making.
Yeah.
He is an elite player. He was an all-rookie player last year, and you saw it last week. That guy is everywhere from his linebacker position. They also have Xavier McKinney at safety, who's an all-pro at safety. So you have an all-pro at every level, but what it also does when Mike is on the field is your first pick of 2 drafts ago, Lucas Van Ness out of Iowa, who was the 12th pick. He had a huge game last week. Edgerrin Cooper, your 2nd-round pick in that same draft. Those guys, Rashawn Gary's freed up. Everybody gets freed up to go after it, and it was a full-sail collapse or just domination of the Lions' offense last week. And the Lions, they've got a ton of talent. I know they couldn't block very well up front, But, man, they got weapons everywhere, and they eliminate all those guys.
Right.
And
They've been doing that
Goff
to the Packers for the past few seasons, and then they got a taste of their own
so
medicine.
We'll see. And
they
that could have been
around.
That very well might have been first game with new offensive coordinator and on the road and the whole bit. I get it for Detroit. Same time.
Yeah, the Packers' stats, I believe, is the last 6 seasons, they don't lose home openers. That's not what they do. But still, this team looks like a different Packers team.
And complete. And they don't. On offense, they maybe the Matthew Golden thing is the Micah Parsons to their offense, where you now have a 4-2 guy on the outside that you have to account for with Tucker Kraft and Josh Jacobs in the run game and the pass game, and then last week you saw it with Jaden Reed and Romeo Dobbs and just a lot of weapons.
Christian Watson's going to be healthy. We saw it with Tucker Kraft. Yeah,
their offensive line is above average. I mean, it's good. It's a good, solid unit
when
for
healthy,
Josh
it's
Jacobs.
good.
So, and then there's Matt LaFleur, who's kind of people think emerging as a real good coach. So, love this matchup. Dan Quinn and his Commanders, Jaden Daniels and all his talent, an improved defense. This should be a fun game. This, as you watch this tonight, think, you know what, this really could be a team representing the NFC in the Super Bowl.
Agreed.
The Dallas Cowboys will play on Sunday on their home opener against the
New York Football Giants.
And there is no team in this league that Dak Prescott likes to see more than the New York Football Giants. Dak Prescott, career versus the New York Giants, he is 13-2.
Yeah, he's pretty good against
them. He's thrown
them.
29 touchdowns, just 8 interceptions. He's thrown for almost 4,000 yards against the Giants in his career, no matter who the lousy coach at that time is, because he's seen a bunch of them. You go back, Joe Judge.
Remember that name?
Golly, who was it before Joe Judge? I mean, they've had some bad coaches there since Tom Coughlin walked out.
Yeah.
But he has a 102.4 passer rating. Dak Prescott, as the quarterback, when healthy, has not lost to the New York Giants since 2016.
Ooh. Which is the year he came into the league.
Yes. All right.
When Odell Beckham was catching the ball still.
Oh, yeah. So Dak is back, and he is home. And they'll face the Giants this weekend. Giants do have a good pass rush. Giants do have a good defensive line. They don't do much on offense.
But they don't really have anything other than that. And Malik Neighbors, who gets frustrated when he doesn't get the ball.
Because they just double cover.
Yeah.
At this moment, Jadeveon Clowney is not a Dallas Cowboy, but Jadeveon Clowney, the former number 1 overall pick out of South Carolina, was at practice, and he was visiting with the Cowboys. He was seen watching practice, but he left, according to NFL reporter Josinia Anderson, without a deal. So I guess, do they have to call his agent?
Probably I talk to the
Probably
agent.
need to call the agent.
Yeah, because I think he has an agent.
Did they bring in Jadeveon and say, let's do a deal face-to-face? And he says, no, call my agent.
No.
I'll be here. I'm not doing anything, but I'll play for you. That might be the deal. Call my agent.
Right.
And Jerry, what? I don't want to call your agent.
I want to talk to your agent. I want to talk to you.
I'm talking to you. Yeah,
I want to
right here,
fleece
right
you.
now. Let's get this deal done.
I want to do a handshake and eye contact deal.
Can we hear from Brian Schottenheimer? Schotty. Talking about Jadeveon Clowney. They have a previous relationship. They know one another from days past. Here is Schotty.
Well, I go back to Seattle days. I was with him there. Guy's, really good football player. He's missed playing the game a little bit, and the film obviously looks good. And we're always in the business of seeing what's out there and keeping an eye on all good football players. But I would say the personal relationship I have with him, the problems I know he can create both in the run and the pass, is the main reason he's here.
All right, so he left without a deal. Sounds like Schotty was already planning for that deal to be done at least. Like, hey, man, he's on the street. Bring him in. He's not going to start for them. You're going to have Marshawn Nealon and Sam Williams, but he could be a nice piece. And, one of the things he's done, he never became the pass rusher that Houston wanted him to be when they took him, and, what he could have been coming out of South Carolina.
Right.
There might be no NFL player or football player that's ever made more and gained more value out of one hit in a bowl game. Who did he take the head off of your Michigan Wolverine? Davion Smith. That one hit. That thing got played how many times virally? Jadeveon Clowney in the what bowl was it? Outback Bowl.
Yes.
Outback Bowl came free and just it was one of those signature hits of all time. But he still was a freaky player. He's a 5-star kid out of high school. But never really became that's what that's what he was supposed to be. What Micah Parsons is, right? He's supposed to be what Will Anderson is, but he's never.
Oh, I'm sorry, another Smith, Vincent Smith.
Oh, Vincent Smith. Well, apologies to the other guy, but so we'll see. As for the Cowboys on the bad side, and you heard Jack Farrell mention it in another news, but the Cowboys on Monday lost Deron Bland to a foot injury.
Yeah,
and remember, Deron Bland missed most of last season, 10 games with a foot injury. Now, the Cowboys are saying this is not related to that injury, but they just signed Deron Bland to a big contract, and he and Trevon Diggs did a great job last week, but he is not going to play this week. And if you saw the Cowboys in the preseason when those corners weren't on the field, they were not very good in coverage against anybody they faced. So this is something the Giants will try to exploit, whoever that is that's not Deron Bland. That, obviously Trevon Diggs is going to get locked up on Malik Neighbors as much as possible, but this is not a one-game thing for Deron. It's a multiple-game thing, a few weeks according to the Cowboys, but it's not related to the injury of last year, which was the immediate thought, like, oh, geez, we just dealt with this. Missed 10 games, had a stress fracture that he had last year. So that's a good piece of news. So Cowboys, Giants, Commanders, Packers. Where are you leaning tonight? Do you like the home team?
Yeah. I mean, if I had to pick a side, I don't like that number. It's a gross number with the hook, but I'm not going to go against the Packers after what I saw after week one. Again, it's week one, but they just feel like a complete team. They got juice, and it's at Lambeau. I'll take the Packers.
It's at Lambeau.
Yeah.
I love it.
Hey, E, I did look up. How could we forget these names? Going back to the Giants real quick. After Tom Conlon, Ben McAdoo.
Oh, I forgot about Ben McAdoo. How could I forgot about Ben
Steve
McAdoo?
Spagnuolo for a year. And Pat Shermer.
Shermer.
Excuse me, Shermer.
You know where Pat Shermer is now? He's calling plays for Deion Sanders.
That's right.
With the Colorado Buffaloes. But yes, and people ask about the Giants and Brian Daboll and how bad the Mara family has lost their way.
Yeah.
Since Tom Coughlin walked out the door, and before him it was Bill Parcells, and they had great coaches. The coaching hires they've made have been garbage. Like bad. You go through those. Where is Ben McAdoo now? Where's Pat Shermer? Pat Shermer's coaching college football in the Big 12.
Ben McAdoo is New England Patriots' senior defensive assistant as we speak.
Joe Judge. You hired Joe Judge off of Bill Belichick's staff to be your head coach.
Yeah.
People criticize Jerry Jones for hiring, shoddy. But, man,
they know where Spags is, but that was for 4 games.
Well, and when they hired Tom Coughlin, that was a great hire because Tom Coughlin was the first original owner or coach of the expansion Jacksonville Jaguars, coming out of that Bill Parcells tree and the that whole discipline thing and just how great of a coach he was. And obviously they won 2 Super Bowls. But, you got to do better than that, don't you? You got to do better than that.
Think.
And I think Brian Daboll is the real deal. Maybe. He was coach of the year in his first year, was he not? But he gets credit for helping to make Josh Allen what Josh Allen became in Buffalo.
Right.
Was that just Josh Allen? Maybe that was just Josh Allen. I don't know.
He kind of dealt a tough hand, to be honest with you.
I don't know, but it's fair enough to ask the question, right?
I think we got to stop with the Danger Russ experiment and let's see what he can do with Jackson Dart as a QB whisperer.
Yeah.
Because he was at Alabama, too. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember. Can I give you a trend real quick to watch in Week 2 of the NFL?
Right.
Since 2005, so 20 years, teams that lost in Week 1 and are underdogs in Week 2 have hit against the spread almost 60% of the time, just so you know. Teams that lost in Week 1 but then come in as an underdog in Week 2, and that would include the Atlanta Falcons this week are a 4.5-point underdog at Minnesota. The Chiefs are a dog at home to Philadelphia. How often are the Chiefs a dog at home in the Patrick Mahomes era? Texans are in that conversation too.
Sure.
Actually, no, the Texans were not a favorite last week. They were an underdog and lost by almost the number. But they lost by 5. The number was 3.5. But so look for those little trends into Week 2. Typically, teams in the NFL who underperform one week overperform the next. That's just the way the week goes and the league goes. And teams that overperform or play really good one week, they come back and maybe let down a little bit, but because look, the Chiefs are looking at a situation where they can be 0-1.
Yeah,
0-2.
Right.
In that division, 0-2 in that division, where the Chargers are going to play the Raiders, and one of those teams is going to be 2-0.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be the Chargers. That becomes a problem. You're 2 games back after 2 games. That was a long season, and they've already owned a win over you. So the Chiefs, the point of that is Chiefs and Andy Reid know that he's not desperate yet, but that's a pretty important football game, and they're playing the defending Super Bowl champions. That's a huge game.
It is a huge game. One of those lines that I'm seeing, that kind of sticks out to me a little different, but the Colts and the Broncos is almost a pick 'em right now. The Colts, what they did against
swing.
Yeah.
Well, look at the Cowboys.
Indianapolis.
Cowboys played well and lost. Their line with the Giants went from 3 up to over 6 now.
Yeah, it's over 6. I saw 5.5 last night.
Yeah,
oh, my goodness.
It's a lot. That's a big line swing.
It is. It's a lot.
So there's value there. We'll talk more about that tomorrow when we make our picks to click.